Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all gold BJJ? All of these cards are gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
Well,
sizes.
they're really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait.
Do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.
10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself. Weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strength. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Elevate your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertijar.com and roll with confidence panda style.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture of Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I see that some of you are already off in the comment section. We'll get to those in a few seconds, but before we go any further, if you have not done so, like, comment, subscribe, go to our channels. If you're watching this on, let's say, Inside BJJ, subscribe to them if you haven't. If you're watching this on Grappling Hour, subscribe to this if you have not already. It really does go a long way, and we always appreciate the love that you guys give us. So that is a big ask, I know, but in this day and age, your love and appreciation does not go unnoticed. So there is that. All right, let's get to some business. Let's go ahead and say hello to the co-pilot of this little beast, our good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
What's going on, Raf and Kevin? Excited to be back, fresh off Noche.
The camera down slightly just for a second here.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I see what I see, but okay. I just thought you had like a Star Wars gun pack attached to you, like you were a Wookiee, but instead I see it as a crossbody fanny pack. I'm sure the reason of which we'll get to a little bit later, but how often do you wear this fashion accessory, sir?
There's no reason, man. I'm just psyched after this is over. I'm going out, getting a couple drinks with the boys, hanging out. We'll see what happens.
Okay. It's hard to go ahead and say any reason why. Sorry, we have to take this off. You actually are here this time. Normally when you leave, I have to put up a fake photo, but it really goes to show how much work I go into redoing all of this. But yes, let's go ahead and take that off here in a second. Kev, I would ask this though. If you are wearing that right now, it means that you have later plans. How often are you not wearing the fanny pack though?
It's a lifestyle, man. Like, I take it off for the show usually, but today I'm just too excited.
All right, that's very good. Okay, so a few things to kind of get through here first. So we should mention this. There's been a lot of stuff that's been happening. I just got news that friend of the show, Anthony Orozco, who took a fight on 48 hours notice, he ended up with a win. So congratulations to him. That's very big and cool news over at Cage Warriors. Very cool to see. To my knowledge, and you guys can tell me if you've heard differently, we have not heard anything for Cody Steele yet. So we're hoping that somebody steps up to do that.
It's like a loophole in the system that they discovered. Like, you can just come back through the contender. You come back as somebody else.
Yeah.
Change your name.
Did you guys ever
dye
play,
your hair?
Yeah. If you guys ever played, this has been a known thing. If you ever played UFC 3, 4, you just restart the game with your template character, and you go right back through the contender series or tough, and you're in.
Easy money.
Just makes me so concerned that people think they can Candyland their way back up into it. They're just like, oh, we back in. So it takes a second here, but let me go and address a couple things. First off, Wallow, sup players? Thank you very much. Love you. Appreciate you, sir. We need to talk about this, Egg, because I say this with love.
He gets a kickback.
You're probably right, but it says Jet Thompson just dropped a BJJ Fanatics instructional on aoki lock and ankle lock. So, Egg, I know that it says that it monitors for spam, but this is like right on the cusp of spam. Not even a hello, not a hey, good to see you guys, just straight to business in this. With just being like, by the way, like, this is a BJJ Fanatics email that found its way into my show, and I think it needs to be addressed.
You really want to make somebody's head explode? We could take this video clip, which is an ad within an ad, and then we could put it on Reddit. See what they have to say about it there.
I feel it's okay to give the kid some love. He's obviously part of PGF family, and I don't mind that. It's just, when this finds its way as its first comment, I just think to myself, hey man, maybe put it through AI and say, what's a more conversational way to bring this up? Perhaps the way to approach it. But then, not even to us, it's a good afternoon, Wallow. So he goes to Wallow, before he even addresses us, to put in the advertisement, of which Kevin probably predicts he does get a kickback. So just saying.
Well played.
All right. I will say this. Subscriber 10304, this seems like a you one, and I don't know if you know who this person is, but that is a very dubious way to make their way known on this show. Any guesses here, Tim?
I no guesses, man. Actually, I don't know. I like the what's up, though. That's like when you spell ketchup with a CATSUP.
Yeah, I
Basically,
do.
It's the...
But I'll do the what's up. So I'll sometimes switch it up depending on my mood. I do see that Egghead does accurately point this out, which is Handsome Kevin has been wearing those since season 3 of the PGF. So this isn't a new occurrence. This is who you've always been.
I have 4 of these.
Of course you do.
Okay, important question. Have you ever lost any of the contents inside of it or the fanny pack itself, Kevin?
Yes, I have one really obnoxious, like orange and purple one that I lost, and I left somewhere, and somebody came running out of the building, like, please get this off the property. Like, take this with you. I think you left it. They were holding it with 2 fingers, like, just barely, like, here you go, bud. I think if they'd have had gloves on, like, that would have been better for them. They didn't want to touch it. So I've lost one before, and it was returned to me immediately. I was asked not to return.
You have impeccable luck is what I've learned in terms of losing items and them finding their way back to you. There's been a lot of stuff that I've just kissed goodbye because I said, oh, that belongs to the volcano now, or oh no, that belongs to that house now. Yet we just found out a little bit of a addition to the Kevin left his iPad somewhere. It does seem like they found it. Do you have to pay for it? Like, how does this work when the return?
You have to pay for. So Delta found my iPad. Shout out to Delta. I didn't think that was a thing that actually happened. I figured it was a form that you fill out so that you'd stop griping on social media. Like they got to give you something that goes into the abyss. But they actually found my iPad, and it's been, what, 2 weeks? They found it, texted me today, and all I had to do was put in my information and pay for shipping, and they're sending it'll be here in 2 days. I'm blown away. Not that blown away, actually. This happens to me all the time. I just lose stuff, and it comes back to me. Clearly, God loves me.
Yep.
Is there any concern that it took them 2 weeks, though? It just seems like if you lost it, they should be able to find it pretty quick. Like, do they have that many lost items? Like, there's a queue of things, and your ticket goes into this stack, and it took some poor dude 2 weeks to get to it. He's like, okay, now we got to find an iPad. Anyone find an iPad?
Yeah, I'm going to get it, and there's going to be, like, new games downloaded on it and stuff. His kid had it for 2 weeks.
I think that is what happens in response to your question, Tim. I think they give themselves like 40 minutes to see if they can crack the code. And if they don't hit all zeros and it doesn't work, they're kind of, shit, I only know like 3 other codes. So 1 2 1 2 1 2, does that work? No, shit. Okay.
Yeah, that 1 2 3 4 5 6 would have got it, but they never tried it. Clearly.
Clearly, somebody has watched Spaceballs in their life. What is up, Winter Stick? Good to see you as well. I do want to point this out. Egghead did try to correct himself as AI will, and basically took us up on the offer to just say, hi, great to see you guys. So thank you for that. And a subscriber says 209. So maybe that's another hint.
Okay. It's got to be one of the homies then. If you said 209, then it's got to be somebody from out there.
I have to tell people this. When you guys send in comments, if you have an unforgettable or nondiscreet sort of sign-in name, there is no way any of us will ever be able to put an attachment to those things. As it is, when I see people in real life and their name is not actually the same as their Instagram name, I sometimes blurt out like, oh, and then I yell out their Instagram name instead of the real name. They go, I don't know who the fuck you are, but I've seen you before. And I don't expect you to know anything different. It's like when people look at me and they're like, and I go, I host shows. Yes, I am that guy. So I just try to help that out. So subscriber 10304, thank you very much for that. Before we get to the board, do any of you have any business to present to me of maybe a topic or something that didn't make it to the board? Now is your time to speak your piece.
I think I'm all clear. I don't know. I think I'm good, man.
I know for a fact there was something that I really wanted to cover. I think I sent it to at some 1 a.m., forwarded it to you, and was like, oh, we're going to talk about this.
Good.
And then I did not put it on the board.
You did not, and that does fall on you. But what really aggravates me is that, did you send it to me personally or did you send it to the group?
I want to say I sent it to the group on text, but I might have sent it to, because I checked the board and I was like, that's on me.
I just always get really mad. I think there was a different fight that got selected this week, and you said, I'm not going to look at it because I don't want to averse my eyes to this. So that's probably the thing you're referring to. But fortunately, we do have stuff that we did bring up from that conversation still on this week's board. So let's go ahead and take a look at this week's board. Gentlemen, I will start with this. We actually have some good news to start off on the board. And listen, everybody could use some good news, but none more so than the great people over at Tap Cancer Out. It was announced this week that Tap of $1 million from the efforts from the Craig Jones Invitational, Rich Byrne, who, shout out him, who matched the amount raised by the Craig Jones Invitational. And then there was another anonymous donor. I think it might be the same one. They weren't really clear as to who it was, but between those three parties, $500,000. Tim, I'm going to go to you. What does this mean, and what do you think it means for the future of jiu-jitsu and charity?
Well, I mean, I don't know how jiu-jitsu and charity exactly are going to work together in the future, but I think it does mean that Craig Jones is a very savvy person when it comes to building a promotion and enhancing the profile of your promotion. I'm not trying to look at it in a cynical standpoint and go, hey, he did this just so he can look good. I think he is the type of person that does want to do good, but he's also pretty mischievous. And somehow he's able, and I know he's got a team of people and all that stuff, but he's kind of the figurehead there. He's able to just blend it just right. Because if he was just doing the wild stuff, I think his reputation would be a little bit different. But he also does the cool stuff. And this is a really positive thing for the jiu-jitsu community. We got enough black eyes. We have enough slips and mistakes and ridiculous things that dudes are saying. So when you see something like this, it's quite refreshing. So I'm a big fan of it. I think, hopefully this starts a trend. Hopefully we start to see more of this. Can everyone give $500,000? Probably not. But at the same time, we can give something. So, yeah, I think it's cool, man. And Tap Cancer Out's a great organization. So big ups to them.
Absolutely. I'll ask this over to Kevin. Kevin, did you find any surprise in this? And how did you find this out? Where were you? Where did your reaction come from? Because I'll tell you, I was on the meeting with somebody who was involved in one of those donations. And I got off the call and go, oh, I didn't know that happened. So that was news to me.
Yeah, I was surprised to find out. I like to hear that there's still money in jiu-jitsu coming out of the Craig Jones Invitational. The big talk was that there wouldn't be any money after that $1 million. We weren't going to see a second one. We weren't going to see a follow-up Craig Jones Invitational. They were going to lose tons of money. It's really cool to see that money is still flowing. There may be more money in jiu-jitsu going forward, and I hope it goes towards philanthropic investments.
I just have to say, I think by and large, all of us are especially impressed by this because we struggle to pay the athletes, and here it does seem like they paid those athletes that won and the athletes that participated in it. And then on top of that, charities still managed to get money. So it does show that, yes, we've done a whole exhaustive sort of analysis on the ratings and all that sort of stuff. But there are a lot of factors that show the momentum is on the good side for us here in jiu-jitsu. And that, yes, philanthropy can also exist. It's just also really great, I think, to see that a jiu-jitsu specific charity also was able to reap the benefits from that because they've been doing such great work. They're traveling all around. I've seen them raise incredible amounts of money, even on the road. But I have to say, for a 2-day event, that's a significant amount of money. So big props to the crew. Thank you to Rich. Thank you to an anonymous donor we don't know. And to all the people who bought tickets and supported the Craig Jones Invitational, your money went to good use. So it also kind of gives us a little bit of, we joked about it, but because Craig is who he is, how do you not joke about the idea of going, well, we'll see where that money goes? Like now we actually have some concrete evidence to that. And I think that was something that people were asking about, which is the transparency for the organization. Like, show us where it's going, show us where that money trail is. Well, I think you got your first parts of evidence to that. So hopefully this is a great first step and we can do more in the next time. So there is that. Gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and plunge ahead to go to the next, which is this. Well, this could go different ways, so I'm not quite sure what oh, yes, it is. Tom DeBlas was hired as ONE FC grappling VP. So it is nice to see that, yes, ONE FC, they have employed Tom DeBlas for a long time. I mean, he's been a commentator for them. He has put himself at a little bit of distance here and there and said like, well, I'm not involved with this, but he's been very hands-on in terms of plugging and promoting 1FC. And it looked like just this weekend, they decided to make it official. So before I turn this over to Kevin and ask you what this means and where else would you have possibly like to have seen Tom DeBlas be plugged in if he wasn't given this promotion, I'll just point this out. Tom DeBlas is seen here in what would probably look like the author photo in a Tom Clancy-esque novel.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I hope that we all have our ability to get somebody who photographs us this well, because this is the professional Tom DeBlas. The other ones are usually him just looking yoked out or giving you inspiration. But I'll ask you this. Where else could you have promoted or seen Tom DeBlas, sir?
I think you need to keep Tom DeBlas as the VP, but he's going to be the VP of the Sons of Anarchy in the next spinoff. I think he would kill that role. If you've ever watched Tom DeBlas's Instagram and you've seen his posts, you've seen him when he posts his post-training shots, he would fit right in. I don't think he has to act very, very hard.
Fair enough.
This man in, he's the VP of the motor club. Keep him moving.
All right. Tim, over to you.
Well, before I say what I'm going to say, congratulations to Tom DeBlas. I'm a big Tom DeBlas fan. You could say I'm a DeBlas hole. I've always liked Tom DeBlas. I think he's a good dude. You know, he has a little bit of an identity crisis at time that comes out on the internet, but I particularly enjoy it. And I know he's been employed by one, and I know he's going to be the VP of grappling. I think in all reality, he'll probably do a really good job. I think he can relate to a lot of fighters and grapplers pretty well. Outside of that, it got me thinking though, like I started looking at his Instagram, like what would this guy be good at outside of jiu-jitsu? Like what could he do? And then I was thinking he could be a motivational speaker, but I really, that's too normal. It's like, I think he would be really good at being a motivational speaker for lazy kids. And you just bring them in, you have them get the kids motivated, you have them pep talk him. He could kind of do some scare tactic, like scared straight stuff. And then he could do some come to Jesus, some gospel Tom, like he can get it all worked in. The other backup role that I think he would do smashing in is just basically disappointed uncle. I could really see Tom being that kind of guy who's just like, man, kid, you got a bright future. You're really talented. You're really going to go places. But the way you're living right now, it's really disappointing to me. Your uncle, Tom DeBlas. But yeah, kudos to him, man. I think he's an interesting dude. I like him in the jiu-jitsu community. I think he'd knock it out of the park.
I don't know, man. I think lazy kids could really give him a run for his money. Like if you put them in a bunch together, I think it could really drag down somebody who's hyper motivational. So you kind of went the direction I was going, which is I don't think he's actually the VP of grappling. I think he's actually the VP of motivation. Like I think the idea is, yeah, sure, you could say he's got a gig helping people, motivating them, doing all that sort of stuff. But the real Tom DeBlas that I know is always going to have an Instagram post ready to inspire you and get you ready to go. So I don't know. I think we just mangled the name a little bit. So you could keep somebody else there, because I think the weird part about this is once you start doing the VP route, then you start going the EVP route, which is the one everybody wants, because the executive VP, that's where the money is. Like that's the good spot. You give me senior VP. I like that too. But EVP, that's it's like getting a senator gig. You just keep that one for life. So I'm just saying, shoot for the stars, kid. Maybe it was a good start, but got a long way to go there, young Tom DeBlas, before we see you get to that EVP status. And it says from Egghead, hold on. Subscriber 10304 says, this is the ESPN of jiu-jitsu? I mean, why not? Isn't that what we want?
Yeah.
I don't know what to go on that one, but I think
reveal yourself.
Well, I think the answer is yes. I mean, I want it. But thank you, I think. We'll see what that says in a second. The other one comes in and says, is Tim saying DeBlas would warn kids they would end up living in a van down by the river? Clarification here. Is that what you were alluding to here, Tim?
I don't think he would be as funny or as lovable as the late, great Chris Farley. But, I think he would definitely be a warning tale to children. They'd be like, ooh, I don't want to be like Garbage Tom DeBlas living down in a van on a dusty mattress by the river. So, yeah, I guess I could see that.
I guess the thing I'm now considering is, what if there was a parable for every single situation that Tom has to give somebody, where he's just kind of like, the Book of Job. And you're like, hey, man, I just had a bad grappling day. I don't know that it reminds me of that, but okay, you go for it. I'll hear what you have to say. This one is specific to Kevin. It says he's not Mayans Inc. material. Sorry. So I guess somebody saw your metaphor through. They said, no, thank you.
Well, we tried. I'm sorry, Tom. I tried to give you that TV spot.
That is fair. Gents, let's go to our next topic here, and I'll advance the board a little bit. And yes, here's a topic that I know a lot of people have different opinions on, and I'm very intrigued to hear none of them. The first of which is, yes, this weekend, the UFC had an incredible event at the Sphere, the famed Las Vegas land of money. And guess what? True to form, it cost the UFC a lot of money, with Dana White reminding us this cost us $20 million in rehearsals. So I guess what we want to know here, good, bad, what take you from the Sphere? And I'll start with you, Tim.
Well, Uncle Dana's acting like your dad acts when he finally gets a cool fancy car and he's driving around and he's like, don't put your feet up on the back seat. I hope you kids enjoy this. But I did enjoy it. Like, I thought it was a great production. The tail of the tape looked like I had my Oculus Rift on. It was awesome. It was fantastic. I thought it was great. I didn't quite get down with all the themology stuff in the background. Like, some of it made sense and some of it was just like, hey man, somebody went wild and it looks cool, so we did it. I would like to see maybe an annual event at the Sphere. I don't think I think it would wear off if you did it like all the time, but once a year, maybe have a big bash and do it. I thought that was pretty cool. The bad thing is you can't control the fights, and the fights weren't necessarily, when you have this huge environment with these screens and all this energy, you want to see somebody go out and throw more than 12 punches in a round. You want to see a banger of a fight, and you just can't control that. But outside of that, man, I think they should do it once a year. I thought it was great. I think it looked good. Even from home, a lot of times those cool in-person experiences don't translate through the screen at home. This one did. So I think they have a hit on their hands.
Kevin.
I have to disagree with Tim. I think the Sphere was a miss. And I would like to draw your attention to the known successes within the sport of MMA as far as present. We have the Octagon, we have Madison Square Garden, flat surfaces, sharp corners, those are in. Round curves, those are out. That's for losers. We don't work with those anymore. Flat surfaces, BKFC took off because they've got the triangle. If you keep trying to push rounded surfaces, you keep taking out edges, you keep trying to cut us out, we're going to cut you out. It's not going to work. You need sharp corners. That's a fact in the fight industry.
Heavy words. Any response here, Tim?
I mean, I didn't really look at it that way. I didn't know that Kevin also is a geometry specialist, apparently, on top of being able to fly airplanes. And, his interest in math is a little off-putting, so I'm going to knock him down a half of a point. Not a whole point. I'm going to knock you down a half point. Listen,
I have a master's in geometry, right?
It went. I bet it went out, and the curves went out.
He has gotten rid of that goodwill. Now we know when to call bullshit, because before we're like, you flew a plane, and we go, okay, that's fine. That's going to be like the best thing he's got. Now he's like, I have a master's in geometry, and you go, no, I don't believe so. So wait, hold on. Do I have a fucking buzzer? I have a. Not quite. Something very
Close
simple.
enough.
How about it? Oh, I didn't know we had that one. Okay. Hey, listen.
We could have been doing a drum snare this whole time.
You know what?
Yeah. Uh-oh. That's the warning track right there.
That's the
Mario
Hey.
Kart.
We got to bring that one back. We will. So, okay, listen. Let me kind of clear up some things here. I'm glad that you guys were fighting. That's good. It's good TV for us. Allow me to give you guys some notes because I have some, not inside track here, but I do have some knowledge as to what is happening with the Sphere. So first and foremost, we mentioned it was a $20 million sort of cost in terms of production for the UFC. However, it did make $21 million at the gate, becoming the highest grossing UFC of all time, which sounds great. But if you figure how much of that do you see when they report the gate, do they get that all back? How are they able to do this? And why, as Tim mentioned, if your dad is telling you, be proud, be excited from all of this money that we spent, hey, you're going to like this that Dana was giving us. Here's the reason why. Part of Riyadh season, they essentially sponsored this whole event for a lot of it. So maybe they did make money off of the gate after all. But if you don't have something like Riyadh season, it is difficult to make this happen. Now, Tim was saying, hey, what if we could see this in the future? I do have some interesting news about that. It turns out that part of the reason they were able to use the Sphere at all, because they have a contract with the T-Mobile Arena that usually doesn't allow them to go out. Well, because the T-Mobile Arena was being used for the Canelo fight, they had one of those hall passes where they could go across the street and use the Sphere. So the likelihood of seeing this happen on a regular basis, probably not super high. I do want to tell you this, though. I think it was interesting to do it as an experiment. I think there were a lot of great visuals, and I love that Dana kept telling us, you know, this is my love letter to Mexicans, which, by the way, I mean, if you're a brown person and you hear this, it's hard to tell them no. And they got one of the graphic artist designers from the movie Coco. So, hey, listen, if you're going to get anything like that, it feels very authentic. I think pros, graphics were great. Production did a very good job. We found such a great use for the ring girls because those costumes that they were wearing were magnifique. The epicness and the grand scale felt good. I wondered how much better it was in person, but I'm also not going to pay $3,000 for a seat. And I feel like continuing to see that grow and grow is pricing most fans out from being able to experience that live. And yes, they said it was sold out, but that morning there were some empty seats. And I know Vegas can be good for a lot of people with good luck, but I don't think that many people had that many good lucks. As you saw at the very beginning of the day, it's a little rough on the getting people to their seats for that much money. What I can tell you is this. What can we learn from it in terms of jiu-jitsu? And this is kind of where I wanted to bring it back to the panel, which is we are not ready for this. So I don't want people to watch this and say like, man, that's such a great idea. We've learned that they were able to cover this through the Riyadh season. We in jiu-jitsu just barely got through a weekend where two events happened at the same time. And what we learned was we still aren't paying our athletes a ton of money. And as a result of that, it feels uneasy to go all in production like this. I think there are small things that we can learn in terms of thematic storytelling and the ability to go a little bit better in production. But if we're going to see this be a regular one-year occurrence, I don't know. And I mean, where do we go next? If that was his love letter to us brown people, do we do like Juneteenth next? Like what is the next inversion of this? Because I just kept thinking to myself, I was like, well, we're getting all the attention this time. How do you do it the next time? And who do you do it for? And then how does it go over for each ethnicity? It's just like, you know, Puerto Ricans are very important to fighting. They fight. This white guy, he's also got a history too. Let's not forget our people here. So it made me very nervous to think like, if we're going to go through all of the different ethnicities and backgrounds, we could be here for a while. But I'll tell you this, I have an appreciation for the shot It did look magnificent. As Tim alluded to, it is hard to control the fights. And I felt like, although you had some good fights throughout it, and it was fun to see some epic storytelling in it, there's no getting past the fact that people did not like the last couple fights, if you would. There was a little bit of uneasiness where people were saying, like, I think I'm going to go watch the Canelo fight. And I think that's where it's hard to try to judge that, because no matter what, at its core, you could put the best production on, but if the fights don't live up to it, the fans have all the right in the world to say, like, yeah, I just didn't like it. And I felt like that's where we ended up on that Saturday, even though not the worst fight, just, maybe not everybody's cup of tea. So I'll go back to you guys. Is there anything that you think jiu-jitsu or the world of grappling can learn from this? I'll start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is upsetting.
Tim, why is it upsetting?
I want to see WrestleMania in the Sphere.
Oh,
that's what I want to see.
They can't.
I want to see maybe not Mania, but I'd like to see the WWE do a yearly event there. I think it would be awesome. Like, man, they could turn that into such a story. They could build a whole theme around that and do it. It would be great. Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about. Listen, let me tell you this.
You're tempting fate.
Listen. Cars used to be boxy, and then somewhere in the 90s, Honda was like, we're going to curve all these out. And we curved them out, and they were super cool. Ford had a Torres and a Contour and all this stuff. And then it was like, no, we don't like that anymore. We're going to go back to boxy. But you know what's going to happen? It's going to go back to the curves, man. It's like saying leg locks are the only thing that works.
Don't fuck with them.
They're okay.
Fight gods do not fuck with curves, bro.
How do you account for sumo? Wrestling's done in a circle.
It's a square. There's a circle for the
it's
interior,
a squared circle,
and then there's another square on the inside, or a rectangle on the inside. They play games with it, but it's still there. They have the hard edges. That's what we need.
We got Pythagorean in the house here.
I want to point this out that it does sound eerily like the fact that Kevin has like a nephew shapes over the weekend, and that informed a great deal of the analysis. It was like, I was making thing, and I learned you can't do that because sharp edges. And now I know
the earth is a trapezoid. Stay woke.
I guess what I would say is this. You mentioned WrestleMania. I think without the sponsor, which, by the way, if they did have Riyadh actually giving that as a buffer for production, there is a possibility you could do WrestleMania. But one of the guys who was involved in the production team said, and I felt this as a production guy, where he goes, you can make all the spectacle you want, and we wanted to do a lot of stuff behind what was going on, but then you don't want to draw away from the fighters. So he's like, we tried to find the balance of get people excited, get people interested in all the great things that we can do with all these gadgets and the versatility of the sphere and the projectors and the screens. But if it makes people look more up there than at the actual fight, it kind of does a disservice. And I thought, at the very least, as they were trying to do all this shit, you got the impression that maybe they pulled back. And that was probably a good lesson. And that's why I was like, oh, it's not bad to experiment and see that. And if they do come up with a version where maybe they do it on a regular basis, but they kept saying, they're like, one and done. And I was like, I don't believe you. And then I heard about their contract with the T-Mobile Arena. And I go, oh, I mean, maybe you could get an exception rule every once in a while, but yeah, it does seem like they're going to be locked in. So if they did it with Mania, all you could think of is they'd just go bigger and better. Like way, like more obtuse than just what you saw here.
It would be great.
Well, we'll let you guys debate about this a little bit later. But for now, we move on to one that I think will unite us all. And maybe this is just a shot in the dark. It turns out a jiu-jitsu specialist, an amazing competitor in his own right, has no gi grappling. So just to give you an idea about what he said here, Allow me to quote him from, well, this is where I found it. I believe this was from the Jits magazine that may have been quoting him from another publication. But it says, KRON Gracie has recently stirred up controversy in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community by taking aim at practitioners who refuse to train in traditional gi. He says some stuff, but then this is the direct pulled quote that most people were a little confused by. And it says, guys who only train no-gi are the same guys that would get drunk, make out with their buddy, and claim they aren't gay, and probably wear a crossbody fanny pack. So I will start this with the clock. I guess you really have to start with the person wearing the crossbody fanny pack and say, well, Kevin, what is your reaction?
Listen, we all have a lot of respect for the Gracies and what they've done for this sport. But I don't know why I would feel particularly strong about that. I don't have any dog in the fight there, for sure. I will note that it seems to be fashionable to wear crossbody fanny packs, although it's not really a thing for me. So he may be putting them down arbitrarily. Maybe it was a compliment. Now that I think about it. Let me put this back on. Maybe it was a compliment, and this is the lifestyle KRON wants for himself, and he is speaking out of jealousy. He's mad he's still in the gi. He's mad he can't kiss the homies on the lips, and he wants a crossbody fanny pack. And I want that for him. Good for you, KRON. This was an odd way to do it, but you should have those things. Live your truth.
I understand why 50 Cent got shot. We'll go to Tim now for his.
Yeah, I just want to say I like KRON Gracie. KRON is a samurai. So he's going to have a different opinion and mindset about combat than someone who's an athlete. I don't view KRON as an athlete. I view him as a samurai. So he's just going to have a different take on it. And I think what he probably doesn't understand is that when you're born into and your father happens to be the person in the family that is considered, you're going to have a particular way of thinking kind of instilled in you through your DNA that's going to steer you into a particular direction. And it's generally not 100% no gi. I think there's a pretty big bend against that, where it's like the gi is the truth and you have to put that on first before you do everything else. Having said that, I also wear a fanny pack. I don't do the crossbody. I just go all the way around the waist. It's just kind of like my signal, so other waist dudes know I'm a waist dude and not a cross dude. So, but I enjoy it. I wear it. I don't go out drinking too much, but I do wear the fanny pack. So I think he probably had a bad experience with a cross fanny pack, and so it's traumatizing to him.
Maybe this is his version of what a cross-dresser is. I'm not quite sure. I want to point this out because I think in his head, this was a slam dunk. Like, I think he said this was like, yo, got him, done. And what he probably didn't account for was when he was inferring that no-gi grapplers might be gay. They just said, yeah, okay. One, they don't care.
What else is new?
Two, maybe they are gay. Three, I think the real thing is he should have watched and paid attention to the message of 21 Jump Street, which is when those two older gentlemen went back to high school and they thought that they could get away with saying certain things like, yeah, it's gay, look at this. And then everybody attacked them. They're like, what happened? I was just trying to fit in. They're like, yeah, it's not the culture anymore. So when he did this and he's like, I know, I'll call him gay. This is a community that is essentially not only made a very successful person out of Craig Jones with his keep jiu-jitsu gay rash guards, and very, very, very popular version of that rash guard selling out. But I think he just didn't account for the fact that it's like, I think if you take that aside, no-gi people are used to being othered or being told, you know what, you don't train both of these, you're not a real person. And I think they're just fine with that. I think they've gotten to a point where they say, you can say whatever you want about me, dude. You can always come train with us. We don't care. But I think it's very funny because as a person, like I like training in the gi. I think it's very important. But I don't really go around to all the no-gi guys and just tell them like, yo, you suck. It's just like, dude, they have a valuable set of information, but it is hard to force people to do something they don't want to do. I just found it incredibly funny that there was a community that was very up in arms that basically said like, you know, I don't even care what the context of this is. I just find it funny. So I think that was the bigger issue, but I'm pretty sure that was not the intended effect of what they thought those statements were going to necessarily elicit.
I'm pretty sure we're all gay anyway, everyone who's doing jiu-jitsu in general. So, I mean, people have been making gay jokes about jiu-jitsu since I started. It's like, this is not new, dude. This is the same shit we've said to each other. Like, this is nothing. This is like big deal.
I just find it.
Yeah, it's not the shock I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think the weird part is if you go to most jiu-jitsu gyms, they'll already go with the like, it's pretty gay, huh? Okay. And then
right.
Because they get the joke out of the way. Then you have somebody whose like entire argument or rhetoric is based on the idea, yeah, you know who does that? Gay people. And they go, yeah, okay. So we rolling or not? Are you coming to 80s or you not, bro? Because like we just miss you. There's different ways to tell us you don't want to be around us, but like, bro, we like you in this sport. We'd like you to be around. We recognize you're not fighting as much and that you probably supposedly have a fight on hand. And if that's the case, cool. The jiu-jitsu community will probably support you, but still, like, what are you up to, dude? Like, you gonna do this?
Oh, I'm 1000% still supporting KRON when he fights. He's a phenomenal grappler.
I know.
This
he's awesome, man.
Hilarious. Yeah.
But
again, it's not the shot he thought it maybe was.
It's just, I'm pretty sure he thought it was a walk-off home run. And then basically the internet just goes, nah, man, we're not doing that right now. But Jonathan James did pick up on the subtlety here of one. You do have fans, Kev. You do have people who are recognizing what you are putting. Gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next topic. And listen, KRON, maybe you didn't like the show up till now, but I kind of feel like this is one that brings no-gi people, gi people, humans, civilians, aliens all together here. Because what the fuck is this? Apparently, if you ever needed to know if your gi was appropriate for the IBJJF, you now can go and get one from the IBJJF.com on the sale portion of the website and get you a gi checker to make sure that you are fit to compete. So I'll start with you, Tim Freeman. What say you about this new item that is listed on the IBJJF website?
I can never underestimate the IBJJF's ability to come off with a very amazing idea. I mean, it's such a great idea. This looks like something that a high school kid made in his shop because they got a 3D printer on campus and somebody unplugged it when it was supposed to make the end. It was actually supposed to come off as like a back scratcher or a shoehorn, but it got munged up at the end. And they're like, well, yeah, I think we could measure gis with this. Let's do it. It looks like a device that's like a multi-tool, something that it looks like an old school lint remover on one side. On the other side, it can be a back scratcher. You can use it to remove fish hooks. You can also descale a fish with it. And if you're going to compete, you can use it to check your gi. It's ridiculous. I don't know how much they're hustling these things for, but I guarantee you there is a plethora of white and blue belts who have already popped their money down to get those things. I think it's fair to say at this point, the IBJJF is contracted with the TSA and we will continue to see more ridiculous bullshit like this as we move forward at their tournaments. It's outstanding. It is a beautiful train wreck. That's what it is.
Kevin?
I know how much they're selling it for because I just went to try and go.
Oh, you son of a bitch. It was supposed to be a game. The whole point of this was I was going to ask you guys how much it was, but this motherfucker actually did research. All right, fine. Tell us how much it cost,
I
Kevin.
cheated. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I did my research. I'm a serious scholar.
Hold on. Was I wrong to
36
you didn't do your research? Was I making a weird, uneducated guess here?
Oh, no, I Googled it right now.
Yeah. You bastard. We're trying to play the prices right, and you're screwing it up, man.
I was, I'll tell you all why off air, jokes and jokes. Yeah, it's silly. I'll tell you that. It's silly. I'm a 3D print one of these. I'm not actually buying the real thing. Yeah, they're selling it for exorbitant pricing, just kind of like your IBJJF ID, which could be $0, but instead it's expensive. Just like signing up for their tournament, which could be half the price it is. Unsurprising. And I think it's hilarious that they're creating more costs to go with gi as gi is slowly becoming less popular. You'd think they'd be making it easier for people to stay involved, but not them. They're going to get that check before they hop out the door.
So it retails for...
I want Tim to get a chance to guess first.
Oh, okay. Okay. You want to be the host now and do the horror. Can I point this out to you guys before you even do this? There was a part of me that was going to set it up. And you guys know I have like special tools that I can make like a game show element happen on our screen. And I was like, man, I really want to do that. I don't know if I have the time to get it ready. And then I'm like getting the show ready. I go, fuck, I should just cut it. Yeah, I'll do it later. Turns out somebody already was doing that, but not until 5 minutes ago. So my instincts were correct. Anyway, Tim, would you like to take a crack at figuring out how much this is? Now, mind you, this is Price is Right rules, so it's closest without going over.
Man, you know, it's like, I think a fair price is like $29.99, but this is not the fair price organization. Seeing that it's $179 to show up and be told your gi isn't right, so you can't compete. I'm going to say it's probably $79. I'm going to go $79, Bob.
All right. I'm going to go $35 and see if I could split the difference somewhere in there. Kev, what is the real answer, sir?
I'm going to guess $36 on the dot.
You're fucking...
Because that's exactly what it is.
36 bones.
Yeah, that's, you know, you don't get to guess. That's not how being a host works. You can't know the information and then be like, I too will take an educated guess. Oh, Drew Carey, how did you get it right every single time?
Hit it on the dot again.
Extremely educated guess.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Can I ask this? Did you do your full research here? Can you tell me more about this gi checker and why it exists?
I read the article, and it is so that you don't show up to the tournament and they kick you out. They don't say it like that, but that's exactly what it is. I have a buddy who's a bronze medalist at Worlds as a brown belt, and he got kicked out like 3 times by the IBJJF prior to getting that. At like Pans, he got kicked out at like a whole bunch of tournaments. And you're sitting there going, man, why? So yeah, they literally are like, yeah, guys, we're doing this. The tone of the article is hilarious. We're doing this great thing for you. We thought ahead. Here you go, bud. Yeah. They're doing you a favor.
They are, in that this is most definitely going to be my white elephant gift for the gift exchange this year. 100%. Some sorry sucker who doesn't train jiu-jitsu is going to get one of these from me.
Okay.
And I've noticed the coloring is it looks like they've set it up to match the actual color of the gi.
No. for a second here. Don't you even talk about the color of this thing, because before you even get set, you better not ask me if they make this in a different color, Tim, because for you, you dumb bitch, of course they do. They can get it in 2 different colors. You can get it in black because it's different. See, it's Malibu Stacy with a fucking hat. That's all they did here. Legitimately. You don't like the blue, the traditional blue version? Don't worry, we got you covered. Maybe you're a black belt and you need this to match your inside of your heart. And whatever you sent me, Kevin, is great. Absolutely. You know what? We're spending part of production money for that. So what I can tell you is this. I think I'm very mad because, Tim, you hit it right on the head. This is reminding me of when I used to go to a shoe store, and I don't know if the children remember this, but the way they would check you is something that looked just like this. You would put your foot at the edge of it, and they'd measure it, and they'd be like, you look like you're about a blankety blank, and then they go get it. And then when they come back, they go, does this blankety blank fit you? Oh no, I guess I got to get a blankety blank blank blank. And you go, okay, great. It was a dumb practice. It's what we had to do. But now I see this and I go, oh shit, is that what happened to them? Did they repurpose that? Because now it's you and just try to resell that to us now, but with the intention of, you wouldn't want to show up and waste your money now, would you? By not being able to compete. So you need this tool to make sure you do not go. And most people could just get a measuring tape and do that. And they go, no, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't hate yourself like that. Get one of these, the official IBJJF checker. And I have to say, I think I know the person who wrote the article, and I can't even get mad at him. He's just doing his job. I'm just looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, like, guys, maybe we aren't working hard enough here. Maybe we just aren't coming up with enough useless merch to sell on this show, and maybe that's why we're jealous.
Probably. So I can imagine what the scene was like at the academy that Henner Gracie runs when he realized this was a missed opportunity. Why didn't we think of this? I can't believe you let those bastards beat us to market. Just irritated. So yeah.
It also looks.
I'm gonna market.
Go.
Sell crossbody fanny packs that say "Kiss the homies."
You know, if we were really to do that, I think that's a good idea. I think we should find somebody who merches that out. See if we can come in on something that's just like.
I think they'd sell.
Yeah, I think that would sell. Agad asks a very important question. Why not just boycott the IBJJF?
Because martial arts, dog.
I mean, how do I put this?
It's
whenever you have a ranking or the ability to compete that involves saying this person could be better than this person, it will always succeed. Because people always have an inherent human nature to figure out who is best. And as long as that exists, that will exist. The weird part is, I would say this. I feel like in every sport, whatever the mainstream or the culture is, it can be mocked. But other cultures, I feel, have some form of self-awareness. The IBJJF, on a regular occasion, shows either a lack of regard for self-awareness or just a really concerning inability to spot, like, is this a good idea? Nah, we should just do it. The bullpen flamethrower. Well, listen, I don't know about that. I don't want any lawsuits here. I'm quite good at being the Dan Aykroyd of this group, but being able to sell shit like that might be even a challenge to me. All right, we're going to go now to our next one. And Tim, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about this, but it does seem that within the NFL, some people have kind of gotten, I guess, ahead of the curve, and they have used their jiu-jitsu training to help mitigate things. We've seen it also in the NBA. I think I've even seen it in the NHL, where these athletes are now starting to find the benefits of jiu-jitsu. And just recently in the NFL, there was a major scare that may have been helped a little bit from the world of jiu-jitsu. Tim, I'll take it to you.
Yeah, I don't know if it was helped. Maybe it would have been worse. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, I think is how you say his name. He picked up his third concussion, and his future's a little bit in doubt right now. They're not sure exactly what's going to happen with him. I haven't read the latest reports on him. This happened on Sunday. But the GM of the Dolphins came out and said, he trained jujitsu over the summer so he could learn how to fall and maybe get better control of his body. Apparently, when he's getting sacked by a 340-pound man who can run a 400 twice as fast as any of us can, it's kind of hard to control your fall, but he's looking for ways to do that. I don't know if it worked out for him exactly. I do know that a lot of NFL linemen will practice hand fighting and some things like that, and I think there's some bleed over. But it got me thinking, and I really hope that he's okay. You don't want to see anybody go out with any kind of head injury. You don't want anyone to have to deal with CTE. Unfortunately, it is one of the things you got to deal with in a combat sport or in a high-impact sport like football. But listen, I've been thinking about this idea for a while, and this is a golden opportunity for somebody to get at these guys that are making multi-million-dollar contracts. They are valuable assets. They're also competing. They're also, these fields are chocked with alpha males. These are guys that they want to win. And ultimately, whether they're putting balls in holes or they're running around a figure or they're doing whatever they're doing with the game they're playing, ultimately, these guys end up scrapping. And the NHL has it right. Only 2 guys can scrap. Everybody else has got to watch. That's cool. You could spectate. That's cool. I like that. All the other leagues, 2 guys start scrapping, both benches clear, and it's chaos. Perfect opportunity to bring me in. I will teach your team how to fight the other team using jiu-jitsu. And I don't want to put too much out there because I know that it'll show up. Game Wrap will be available soon. It'll be announced online, and it'll be like our 10-on-12 scenario that we've worked out, me and my brother Henner. But having said that, I think it's a great opportunity. These guys are super assets. I think they should get coaches in there that know how to grapple, they know how to fight, and they should teach these guys what to do if a brawl breaks out. To be safe, don't get hurt, don't break a leg, don't get your head jacked. And then you could dominate the other teams, and then they don't want to fight you. So it's a win-win.
Kevin, what's your response? And do you feel that Tim is trying to shown in on your market here?
Yeah, I think if you're going to the subject matter expert on brawls, Tim will teach you how to fight using jiu-jitsu. I will show you how to use blunt objects. Your team is going to win. At what cost? I'm not sure, but I promise it will cost the other team more. I've always been surprised that pro athletes don't spend a lot of time working on their break falls. Your body is so valuable. That is your career. The thing I tell my students when we are working break falls is this is the most important thing you're going to do. You may never compete. You may never get in a physical altercation in your life. But you're going to slip and fall. That's going to happen. Break falls have saved my life, probably. I mean, you don't really know what would happen if I didn't have break fall training. Several times. I've been hit by a car, and I don't remember much of that other than going over the hood.
Sorry.
And I
don't mean laughing.
And I woke up.
I could just see Kevin getting.
It's the end of Mean Girls, but it's Kevin, and but okay, Kevin, I want you
Fanny pack goes flying.
Before you finish this point, just understand the casualness in which you just say, "Oh, I've been hit by a car," but really, who hasn't? It does require us to take a moment of pause, especially when your mom's watching and she's throwing valuable notes and she's saying like, yo, Tua should have probably been doing judo. And I think he actually was doing a little bit of judo. I think the hard part is that when you do have those falls, the more recognition you have probably affords you at least a much better outcome likely. Not doesn't mean it's always going to work, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, so I've been hit by a car, and my recollection of it is the lurch over the hood, and then waking up on the other side of the street. And I have a pattern of a forward brake fall in road rash that goes from this arm all the way across my back to the other shoulder, where I did a front fall, basically, a forward roll. I imagine that's what my amateur CSI experience tells me based on
Gary Sinise.
where I'm missing flesh. But yeah, so I've been hit by a car. I wrestled in Iowa and I slipped on black ice all the time, and a backwards brake fall saved me trips to the hospital. I used to bike a lot, and I've gone over my handlebars, and a front roll saved my dome just as often as a helmet. I don't get why pro athletes making millions of dollars don't invest in haphazard things not ruining your career. I firmly believe, hindsight's 2020, that brake falls could have saved Derrick Rose's career. Still had a great career, could have been one of the absolute best to ever do it. Still was. He won an MVP, but I digress.
Okay. Am I right to be concerned about Kevin? Like, the casualness also in which you say, fell down a lot, I was wrestling didn't kill me, falling did, car hit me, there's some other stuff.
Lost my iPad.
Lots of the iPad's not at all any part of my concern anymore. In fact, it has dropped off the top 100 Kevin concerns.
Explains why he's losing stuff.
High up there, though, is even Wallow J having this point out, which is he can do his research, but he can't plug in his new mic. No, listen, guys, he did try.
Plugged in.
He did try, to his credit.
Plugged in.
Well, don't do that. You don't get to go away that. I could have solved this problem a lot quicker had I had seen it a lot sooner. But I think you saw the look in my face when I knew exactly what it was, and I go, "That's this, isn't it?" Yeah. Okay. Cool. Here's what I could say. I think the real way you should approach what you just mentioned here, Kevin, because it's a good lesson to teach people to say, yes, you will fall. It is without fail. You will fall in this life. I think you should immediately follow that by a shove of them and make sure that they do fall, because there's no better way to really drive home the point. Like, you didn't know that was going to happen. And honestly, neither did I, but it did. And now look at you. Your arm's broken. You should learn how to fall. Anyway, for the rest of you, this course is $49, which is only $13 more than a gi checker is currently on the ibjjf.com website.
You could collab with them and bundle it. It's a bundle deal.
It's a bundle deal indeed. I guess I should say this. Part of the reason why we wanted to put Jiu-Jitsu can save lives, we always say that. But I do feel like this is an important thing, because I cannot tell you how many times, especially as I'm getting older, it's not the Jiu-Jitsu that's killing me. It's the, I might slip on this. Like, my dogs will routinely pee somewhere they're not supposed to. And there's definitely a whoa that happens a lot. And it gets scarier as you get older. The only thing that gives me some solace is that I saw once my wife slipped on something that the dog did, like literally a pee, and she like at least kind of hit a great break fall. And there was a moment where I was so concerned, but I go, babe, that was a great break fall. She just stares at me like, it hurt. And I go, I know, but it was so good. Let's talk about how good that break fall was. She had no.
Give her a little advice. Next time, just try to a little closer to your hip, not so far out to the side when you do it.
Really want to, if you hit that hip, that's really where it's going to be. She's like, I did hit my hip. And I go, ooh, that's the part. Anyway, I would say, yes, we at our core want to try and make everybody a little bit safer if possible. But I would tell you, it is difficult to convince people of that, because all they see is the aggravated violence or the practicality of, I don't know, maybe I can use this gi to kill somebody. I feel like a lot of the times those are great things to learn, but it's literally day one stuff I go over with everybody who basically shows up on my mats, which is, you better learn how to break fall, because this shit's going to get rough. And more importantly, I love shrimping. That's really cool. But legitimately, that shit concerns me more, because if I turn my head and you're suddenly flying and you don't know how to go ahead and take this fall, we may not see you again. And I'd prefer to see these people on a regular basis, whether inside or off the mats. So there is that. But gentlemen, I think it's time to move on to one of our last topics. And let's go ahead and take a look. Yes, you love it. I love it. Kevin says it's his favorite part of the show, which was news to me because I thought every other segment was his favorite part. At least that's what he tells us offline. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at this upcoming fight? But before we get here, Tim, is there any context that we need to know about this fight before we put it up for everyone to view it?
This is a classic office bro versus blue collar bro fight. And I'm noticing a thing with dudes in sunglasses. And I think I'm going to stop wearing sunglasses. Unfortunately, I can't stop wearing eyeglasses, but I might stop wearing sunglasses. Maybe I'll get LASIK. Not good to have them on fights. The guys with the glasses on are getting jacked, man. So pay attention to it. There's a lot that happens. There might be a possible attempted murder.
Don't tell me more. At this point, in having to review it, I was like, no, I think I know where this goes. But
okay, let's see it.
You did a great job. Kevin, since you're somebody who has not had any eyes on this yet, I feel like you're the one that needs to narrate it for us. So please take us through this fight, sir.
Oh, amazing road rage. So already poor decisions made. We're actually going to fight it out. He's standing with his back to the guardrail. Bro, those are not ropes. Give him a little chest kick, call it a day. Like, oh my God. Good Lord. Yo! That is exactly what we all would have expected is going to happen. Is he trying to shove him? I hope Blue hits him with the Uno reverse. Oh, man. This is wild. And now he's stuck there. I think self-defense guys actually call that portion of the car the Grand Theft Auto zone. He just throw his keys? He went in his pocket, took his keys, and threw his keys? This guy's a pro. He's done this before. He's like, you will not be following me. Man. Yeah, did we watch Attempted Murder? Because if he'd have gone over those tracks, it looks like they're kind of low. He would have been okay.
Okay, so a few things here. I think the first thing that I've got for everybody is, and you guys can chime in as you deem fit, but I guess the question I have to start this off is, where was Egghead when this happened? Because I'm not saying he fits the profile, but there are some distinguishing trademarks that might signal this is Egghead. First, there's a head that we can see that is without hair. So part one, done.
He has one of those. Yeah.
Part two, this looks like how I thought he might fight, honestly, if I'm really taking a look at it. Because he's trying to subdue it. And then what he's doing is he's doing the dad here, which is, I will throw you off this, son, and gives him some moments and then says, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit you back down. And then as he sits him back down, he says, you sit here, you think about this, you dumb bitch. And there is a missed opportunity here because I would have closed the door on him. I feel
yeah, that'd been beautiful.
Here is to get that. But the only thing that Tim mentioned was Kevin mentioned tossing out the keys. That does no help to anybody in that traffic. As somebody who's been in a lot of life, if you throw out that man's keys, I'm fighting you next. And I will tell you, my road rage is very bad when I have to be somewhere. If I don't got somewhere to be, I'll let it play. Like, do your thing. It's fine. I don't got to be somewhere. But most of the times if I'm on the road, I'm trying to go to work. And if you guys make me late for work, I can't go in looking like I didn't get into a fight if I said I saw a fight. Like, what are you going to tell your boss? They're going to be like, I saw a fight. They go, and? I mean, it blocked traffic. What's the matter with your face? Somebody was blocked. I don't know. I got to get out of here. It's been a good day. I'll see you. Like, they can't say it to you. So at least get in the fight so you can get your day off. So there is that. Also,
not a bad tactic.
Thank you. The other thing you should really look at here, I think the dude fighting bears a very big resemblance to that Mike dude from Breaking Bad who was the fixer who worked all the time with
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yeah, with Bob Odenkirk. It looked like Saul's like cleanup dude basically decided to take matters into his own hands. And I think the dumber part of this is that most people don't understand. The fact that you can actually see a license plate here kind of narrows who this could be. So even if you didn't know offhand who that person was, bet you could find him pretty quickly here. So there is that. Tim, why this video and why this?
I wanted to. Well, I don't know why this week, but I'll tell you why this video. There's a couple real gems in here that I want to point out. Can we just run it back? Look, first of all, look how far his sunglasses go. He knocks them off the dude's face. He cracks him so hard. Watch the sunglasses. They go flying off of the dude's face. It looks like a bird. Boom. And look, watch, and they go flying.
Yeah, they do take flight in a very, very nice way.
Okay, and then he's like, I'm gonna tell you what for. And he's like, no, you're not. Yes, you are. And then blue dude gives like some crazy Kimpo shit. And then pay attention to what camera guy does. He's trying to throw him off. He's trying to push him over. See how he tilts the phone? It's like when you're playing a video game and you're trying to get your character to go a certain way and you tilt the controller. He was trying to give him an assist on the tilt. He's like, oh, yeah, he's going to die. And he's like, tilt that phone, tilt that phone, tilt that phone. Look, and I don't know what was going on there, but he chucked his phone out is what he threw. He's like, you ain't calling anyone, bitch. Get back in the car. Both guys get in the car and drive off. Now, watch what bald guy does. He gives a little kiss up to God. He gives God a shout out here. Right. Watch right here. Watch. It's going to happen as he walks back to the car right there. Just a little what for? Just a little like, thank you, Jesus. One more time. 400 no on Street Fighter. I don't think these are American license plates. Yeah.
No, I don't.
This has got to be Russia.
Yeah. Can I point out just another observation I've had as we've kind of gone through this a few times? I know that, Tim, you mentioned, flying amazing. This going here, I want to point this out when we get a second, but I'm going to speak to following your instincts and at least sticking with them, because this dude at least showed up like he wanted to fight. But I think the second guessing cost him here because he's thinking about going in for a single and then just abandons it. And I feel like if he had stuck with that idea of sticking with that single, maybe things would have changed a little bit. But it's that second guessing yourself. Like, dude, if I've got that leg, I don't care if it still doesn't work for me. I feel like I'm going to try and see it through at the very least, because you got the hardest part, which is you got the entry in. So, hey, most people won't get there. At least if you get that, you can lift him up because, I think he's a little bit older. And maybe that's a better duck over on that bridge. Also, I love the fact that these two people look like they have watched the specific Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin there was a bridge and a title that got thrown over. And not just the title, but if memory serves me right, I believe Stone Cold threw The Rock over a bridge into the water. At least that's what it led me to believe. I feel like that's what they were trying to do here. And I'll ask this question to the panel. If you're recording this and that dude went over, does this not make you an accomplice to murder? Because you're just sitting there being like, no, this is fun. Whoa. Like, you were just sitting there chilling, doing nothing.
That guy's a citizen reporter. That was a classic matchup of hats versus sunglasses. The guy got his sunglasses knocked off, and then he knocked the dude's hat off. You can't have a dude with a hat and another dude with sunglasses in the same room. It's like a mongoose and a cobra. It doesn't mix. It's good. That's why I wear a hat with my glasses everywhere I go, because I got to be able to be on the Bloods and the Crips. I can't be fighting everybody everywhere I go. I'm like, hey, man, I'm on team hat and team glasses. Let's go.
Dude, is that my problem? Is that the issue? I need to pick a side?
Yes.
This is why.
Yes. Vince Ryder.
I think that's what I always consider is your problem, Kevin. Not anything else. Just literally
nothing else.
Literally
sunglasses or hat.
You need to hide your face, dude. You just need to hide your face with some dark glasses and a hat.
It's just
There would be riots in the streets.
every time I see that footage, though, Tim, you know, at first I was thinking, I was like, well, what does Tim bring us this week? Like, what do you have for us? And then I see that and I think to myself, well, you've definitely earned your weight in gold as our lead editor for that. But gentlemen, I think it's time to advance the board to our last little bullet point here, which is the gallery. So I'll say this. I'm intrigued to hear your responses to these because I thought it would be in good taste to go ahead and drop in some of the comments that the citizens had, the everyday people had about the gi checker. And we'll start with this one right here. It said, I got into a bar fight the other day. Thankfully, we had one so we could make sure our clothes were legal. So I feel like they're thinking in 4D chess while the rest of us are just so astounded by the price that maybe we weren't thinking. So, Kevin, are you going to have that thing on you at all times now?
Gotta keep that in a thing on me. Reese Watkins, Baby Goose, used to date a girl who was also a fighter who kept her mouthpiece in her purse just in case she needed to pop it in and go to work. I feel like if you're about to get in a fight and they pull out a mouthpiece, you have a problem. If you're about to get in a fight and they pull out the gi checker, you're going to lose by advantage.
You know, honestly,
I would retrofit a taser into that thing.
Well,
yeah, you think like, you know, anything but whatever.
Next comment definitely did me in a little bit, and this is from a pal of the show. This is from Doron Kim that says, IBJJF shield, which isn't far off, honestly. So I feel like that's an actual item here. You know what's weird? I'm saying the word actual item. When we used to work on the Tonight Show, one way that you would get around doing a segment, you call it actual items. And I think that's what Conan did. And I'm pretty sure that was his way of not doing headlines, but it's like either your staff comes up with bits, but headlines that Jay does were actual headlines from newspapers, which is insane. But I remembered actual items as being like, no, these are really for sale. And then you'd see the shit that people were really selling and you'd go, what the fuck is this? I feel like that's one of the things that we have. So there that. Gentlemen, I'll go to our next one here. And Tim, I think this one is intriguing for you because it does bring up an element that I don't think any of us here thought about, which is next time I get beat at an open mat, I'm going to whip this thing out and EQ everyone better than me.
Yeah, that's a strong move. That's a very well played technicality win. I think I could make one of those with Legos. They got a store out here called McKay's, and they just sell like odds and ends Legos. You could just buy them by the bulk for real cheap. I think I could make a Lego gi checker.
I don't
just
think
put some glue on it, sell it.
So
no way it's IBJJF legal. Got to be branded.
You guys bring up an actual point here because think about it. Pepsi can't exist without Coke. Is there room in this market for two of these things to exist? And if so, do we come up with like the dollar store version of it and then sell that?
What we got to do is find an everyday household item that basically can replace that and just be like, dude, you could just use this. This fucking coffee filter holder thing is the same measurement. You put it in, you're set, dog. That would be awesome.
You know what it is? We need the app that just says, is this illegal? And it just says yes to everything. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's just like, don't use this. So I feel like that's where we need to go. Gentlemen, I come to the last one. This is a 2-for-1 on this one. And this is the most Brazilian thing ever.
I agree. Oh,
So
it would be green and yellow.
I was just thinking they need to sell a JJF, like it's way bigger. Like,
different sizes. Bro, you measured me with the wrong tool. I'm Brazilian.
Oh, sorry, it's tiny.
I'm just thinking, though, you mentioned a great thing, which is, when people like rip off their gi and they start celebrating, I'm just imagining a group of people in the crowd just with theirs, like pitchforking it up in the air like it's a Star Wars movie. Oh my God. Okay. Here's the last part of it. It's the twofer on that one that says, I'm definitely using this to cook my scrambled eggs. Although I would say this, Johnny, you were so close, but like the little apostrophe on those, the S, I mean, it's possessive. It's driving me nuts here, but that's how you can tell the grammar part of me is dying on the inside. Gentlemen, let's do this. I think it is time for us to go ahead and call it a day. I will go ahead and give you guys the ability to plug what you need to plug. And I'll start with you, Kev. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Kevin Gravels on Instagram. As always, you can find me at American Top Team Lima if you want to come train, or Superfly in Decatur, little part of Atlanta. On October 5th, I'm going to be at Wave Combat Sports in Tacoma. If you guys want to come by for a seminar, me and Mario Gayor, another PGF vet, good buddy of mine, are putting on a dual seminar. Should be a blast, man. He's going to teach some cool shit. I'm going to teach the counter to whatever he teaches. It'll be a great time.
Fair enough. Tim.
Yeah, but he doesn't know you're going to teach the counter, and that's the problem, Kevin. So inside BJJ, you can find me on all the social media platforms. We just had a show last night. Check it out. I also have Patreon. Go to patreon.com/inside BJJ for all of the coolest, weirdest jiu-jitsu content you could possibly want. It's great to be here, man. It's always fun to talk about jiu-jitsu with you guys.
Gents, good work this week. I will talk to you off air in a second, but I will tell you this, very happy. And as a reminder, this group here will be reuniting like Voltron for the upcoming season of the PGF. We're very excited. There is one more qualifier, and that is happening. So if you want to get in on it, don't ask me how you can go try to become a person in it by qualifying. And it is very difficult because I've seen the qualifiers thus far. It looked a little rough. It's not super fun to be a part of, honestly. So telling you guys, it is, you can ask me all the questions if you want. That's fine. I will just let you know that every time somebody says like, hey, can I get another opportunity? I'm like, go qualify for these things. That is the easiest way to get on. It is not because you know me. That will not get you anywhere. So just saying. All right, gents, I'll talk to you in a minute. Ladies and gents, before we sign you off, a couple of quick reminders. Like, comment, subscribe. If you made it this far, you owe us that, I think. It's an easy thing to do. So go do that. If you're watching on Inside BJJ, like us there, subscribe there. If you're watching on Grappling Hour, like us there, comment there, subscribe there. Now, see, I said comment on mine because I want more engagement. But you can do everything but that for Tim at Inside BJJ. So do that. You can also follow us on Spotify. Grappling Hour is there. It's also on Apple Podcasts. You can follow us at patreon.com/grappling hour. You see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And we have a slew of interviews that are getting put up there, and very excited about those. So do us a solid. Check us out. Give us some love. Find us on, rafesparza.com/merch for buying shirts like this or hoodies, because now it's starting to get fall time. That means it's cold. So go give some love and support. Thank you guys for watching. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.
Hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all gold BJJ? All of these cards are gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
Well, they're
sizes.
really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait. Oh, this
Do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.